What's up, y'all? Let's see who comes on. What's up, Chris? I'll wait a few minutes to see who pops in, just to give my commentary on what I just read. Let me take a sip of my tea. Teabagging. Anyway, I'll just get to where I started watching this amazing trailer. This past weekend it came out, but I missed it. There's this new movie with Shia LaBeouf called The Tax Collector, and it looks like he plays like, I think, an undercover cop in this one, and he's Chicano, which is a trip, but he's getting called out for brownfacing in the movie. And the director, David Ayer, responded. So, for those who don't know, the film follows two tax collectors. If you don't know what a tax collector is, you didn't grow up in the hood like I did, and Shia did. Shia grew up in the hood too. He's from Island Park, Echo Park area, Northeast LA. Tax collectors are basically, they work for a crime lord. Sometimes they have a front as an undercover cop. Sometimes they have a front as an actual police officer. But in this case, I think they're just tax collectors. And they're played by Shia and Bobby Soto. And they work for a crime lord named Wizard. And it also co-stars George Lopez and Cynthia Carmona. So immediately after the trailer was released, the film received backlash from the Latinx community, which I always have an opinion on, and I always fight back and forth with them. The film received backlash from those who believe it features brown facing, kind of the equivalent of black facing, and others who called out Shia using a Cholo accent. It's like, okay, whatever. By definition, a Cholo is a man or a boy of Mexican descent. I remember we'd always call each other that, just, term of endearment, especially where I grew up. So, and the term originated as a derogatory term for people of mixed blood heritage, and is usually associated with young Latino males who are members of street gangs. So that's kind of where it took a different turn. But if you're not familiar with brownfacing, as with blackface, happens when black and brown people are portrayed in media by someone who isn't a person of color. And this is usually done by darkening a non-black or brown actor's skin tone. So someone tweeted brownfacing 2020 style, responding to a press release image of Shia's character, Creeper. That's his name. And for those that haven't seen him, he got all blasted right here with tattoos for real. And he has cauliflower ear, which is interesting. I heard he trains in jiu-jitsu, but I'm not sure if that's makeup or not. So I gotta confirm that. So the same dude called out the director, David Ayer, specifically, and described Shia's character as a weird movie cholo, in addition to partaking in brownfacing. And this guy says, tell all the kids how you're Hollywood's top cholo auteur, and your pretzel reasons Shia LaBeouf is sort of kind of playing a weird movie cholo in a cop movie, and how all of this isn't really brown facing. But anyway, he said some other shit too. He said, hey, another movie with Latinos and blacks and glorified gang culture on steroids that reinforces stereotypes and fears of white folks and promotes the cop mentality that it's a battlefield out here. So David Ayer took to Twitter to address the backlash directly, which he well should, including a tweet from someone who asked why he didn't cast a Latino lead instead. He wrote, "Shia isn't playing a white boy who grew up in the hood. This is a Jewish dude playing a white character. Also, the only white dude in the movie." So let me read that back to you. David Ayer wrote, "Shia is playing a white boy who grew up in the hood. This is a Jewish dude playing a white character." Shia LaBeouf is Jewish, by the way. Also, the only white dude in the movie. He went on to say that he was a white boy who grew up in the hood and tweeted that Chicano culture is inclusive, which it is. If you're born and raised in the hood like I am, you know that there was a lot of token white people, a lot of token white boys, a lot of token white girls that it was all inclusive. They talked with the same tone of delivery, the same vernacular. Chale, orale, efo, all that. And David Ayer grew up in the hood, and he's a white boy. He knows Chicano culture is inclusive. He's seen whiteys, Asians, blacks, Filipinos all putting in work for the hood. It's part of the street culture, which it is. And he went on to say that aside from it being inclusive, he also responded to the person who called The Tax Collector a cop movie and denounced his criticism that Shia is doing brownface. It's not a cop movie. And Shia is playing something very specific, not brownface. That's the thing. But now we wait for Shia to respond. But this is the kind of shit that gets the Latinx community all fired up. Look at me. I was called Güero, I was called white boy, I was called Wonder Bread, but I'm Mexican. I am what is called a mestizo. I am a raw mestizo. I have indigenous background from Mexico, and my ancestors came on a boat. You guys all know that. So, and I grew up in City Terrace, South Central, East LA, Montebello, Commerce, and now SGV. I knew that there was a lot of people like me. I just had to find them. And, you know, it was a typical like stereotypes within each other, but it was all love because we all come from the same inclusive culture. Now, I grew up a little bit more paisa because I'm first generation born here, so my first language was Spanish, Mexican Spanish, not Castilian. So, and I think for a lot of people where the confusion lies is that when you're born here and you're not quote unquote culturalized with, you know, your roots, then you're kind of demonized as not being authentic, which is kind of stupid. But, you know, I always pick on people that are browner than me and they don't speak Spanish. And I'm like, what? You didn't learn? He goes, no, my parents were born here. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Totally fine. But it's my love to you to roast your ass because I love you for that. And I will. And don't take it personal. But like Shia, though, he grew up in Echo Park. He grew up around the culture. So the director, David Ayer, literally cast the white guy who grew up in the hood, I don't know. Here's the thing is, do I consider Jewish people, and Adam's here, as white boys? I don't. They're basically like, they're kind of like Chicanos. And what I mean by that is you're not American enough and you're not culturally endowed enough, like, because you're stuck in between. So you form your own culture. Hence the culture that the Jews have here in LA. They have a particular culture, but, you know, us Chicanos and Mexicans and Latinos, we blend right in. It's a seamless transition that you only know prejudice and racism if you come across a different type of kind of neo-Nazi white supremacist, really raw racist like person. And unfortunately in LA, it comes in all shapes, all sizes, all colors. That's also the problem with the melting pot here. But the benefit of the melting pot is we get all these diverse cultures. Now, what is wrong with casting Shia LaBeouf as, I guess, a tax collector, basically collecting money for the neighborhoods, different gangs, whatever. I see nothing wrong with it. If he grew up in LA, it's fine. Even if he grew up like in, I don't know, San Diego, Anaheim, whatever, then yeah, it would be the same thing. Now, if you grow up in NorCal, that's a whole different, that's like the whole norteño kind of like culture that I have no experience in. Like if they were to cast me in it, like I would be like, no, I know nothing about the culture. Their vernacular is different. It's more urban. Ours is more kind of like a mixture of, I want to say Spanish, but it's not really Spanish. It's Spanish jargon. They're made up words and, American English. So it's really, really interesting. Nonetheless, I don't think this should be any concern. And I think the Latinx community sometimes blows it out of proportion. And I have trouble with that Latinx term, only because, growing up in the 90s, it's Latino or Latina. Now they included the X, which I have no idea why. I looked it up. I really don't vibe with it, but I understand why it comes up. And it's kind of like a new millennial way of saying, okay, well, it's all inclusive to all genders, all not stereotypes, I'm sorry. All genders, all to call all cultures, whatever. Like, Latino, Central American, Mexican, all that shit. I'll leave you with this, though. Go watch the movie, though. I mean, go watch the movie. Go watch the trailer first. I don't know when it's going to come out, but go watch the trailer. The trailer looks very, very Oscar-worthy of Shia LaBeouf's performance. Bobby Soto's also in it. And hold on, John just says, just seen the trailer. I see nothing wrong with him playing a Chicano. He basically grew up with Raza. Yes, absolutely, 100%. And John, also born and raised in East LA, Boyle Heights. We all know a bunch of white boys that grew up in the hood, and they're a part of our culture. We know black dudes, we know Asians, we know everything, and then vice versa. Like we become part of their culture, depending on where we grow up. It's like, especially like in South Central Mid City, it's mixed nuts, man, and that's the beauty of it. And that's what I like about it, is like there's so much variety. Being born in LA, and LA is covered by a bunch of different sections. So I loved it. I love living in LA. I love the movies that they film here. Training Day, for example, was one of those big ones. And I'm a huge fan of Denzel Washington. In my opinion, he's probably one of the greatest actors that's ever lived. But, you could fight me about that on another session. But, not to say Ethan Hawke didn't do a good job, because Ethan did a good job too. But I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to George Lopez in it. He's in it. And he's not even from LA. He's from San Fernando. He's from the Valley. I mean, it's still LA-ish, but, once a Valley boy, always a Valley boy. No offense, but I vibe with them too. I love those guys in the Valley. It's hot as fuck over there, though. But nonetheless, watch the trailer, judge for yourself. I see nothing wrong with it. He did a damn good job. Oh, Adam, the movie is called The Tax Collector. And you could just Google search and you'll see the trailer, and then you'll see all the news articles tied to it. But here's the thing. Where I grew up in City Terrace, I remember it was a Jewish neighborhood for a long time before all the Mexicans moved in. And not all the Jewish locals moved out. Some stood, and then boom, you got like this really, really good blend of Jewish and Chicano, which is really interesting. I remember, rest in peace, his name was Sammy, and I believe he was Jewish. He was a chubby Jewish guy, but I think his dad had married a Mexican woman, a Chicano woman, and that culture was amazing. It's like, that's how I know, like, you know, especially my black buddies and my Asian buddies, like even Jewish people were going through it with their moms. It's like, oh man, really loud, really on your ass all the time, making you get up early in the morning and do shit, yelling all the time. You know, and then, you know, I had some of my white buddies too that, you know, they were either mixed race, they were Mexican and white, or white and Mexican, dad was white, mom was white, whatever. And same shit, but it's like that culture, but made me think like, okay, is it just this type of culture that exists in like impoverished areas? So then my socioeconomic brain clicked in. I'm like, oh shit, like, is this by design is the other thing too. But, you know, then I quit thinking like that for a while, but it got me thinking like, okay, is this by design? Is this how we're supposed to act by design? So this was it was crazy for me to take in. So Shia's demeanor is nothing like a typical white person. He's also doing a lot for the hood and raza. Go listen to the interview he did with Big Boy. Yes, that's one thing I saw a clip on. I haven't seen it, but I remember I ran into him a while back. Like, this is after the second Transformers came out, and he came to Alhambra to go party there. And I mean, he was just a big star then, but everyone just, it was interesting to see him around a bunch of Latinos and Mexicans and a bunch of Chicanos. And everyone just embraced Shia because, I don't know, Shia radiates different. He's a weird dude too. Very unique. So maybe that aura, I mean, I'm not getting too metaphysical here, but he's a cool dude, man. I mean, I'm in my opinion, he's probably the most underrated actor of our generation. But again, you can fight me about that later. But yeah, this is interesting. I didn't even know this was a thing. I saw the trailer. I got so stoked about it. I'm like, holy shit, this is dope. And then you got to see all the pictures of him actually getting just blasted with tattoos for real. And he got Creeper tattooed for real on his belly. He has a Virgin Mary. You got to watch this shit. I'm like, fuck, dude. And he looks like he's in good shape. And I don't know what's up with the cauliflower ear. I think it's just makeup that he did. Because in the film, look at his ears. Look at the trailer. He has cauliflower ears, which kind of, you know, I guess he's a MMA jiu-jitsu guy in the film. But there's this dope pic of him just sitting with a cup of coffee and a cigarette, and I'm like, God, dude. All right, dude. All right, I see you, man. I see you. This motherfucker bad, dude. I will gladly bring him to any of the quinceañeras or the carne asadas that we throw, man, or any of the backyard gigs that we used to have in Boyle Heights with John Dominguez. Put up your dukes. But yeah, he has a Mickey Mouse glove on his chest. That is so crazy. I was like, what? Did he cover it up though? Is what I'm trying to look at. Oh shit, man. And then there's a picture with him and the homies. I forgot where they were at, but he's throwing the big hazard sign. Oh my God. I shouldn't be doing that because I don't bang. But I'll retweet it. I thought it was Photoshop. I looked at it. I was like, oh my God, this guy's throwing up the hazard sign. This guy's insane. So easy like that, man. It's like, you know, you're a superstar like that. You have all this money. You're weird. You're eclectic. You can do all this stuff, man. And, you know, maybe he knows, like, fuck, dude, like, I'm not, I'm not confined to just one, one dynamic. He fucking, oh God, I can't wait for this film, dude. It's gonna be badass. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for a lot of things. But everyone just needs to keep their head in check. I know I struggle with this too because of this whole pandemic thing. We open, we close, we open, we close. Everyone just stay safe. Stay away from these Karens that they literally refuse to keep their distance and cough on people and refuse to wear masks. There's a couple of them out there that are kind of making I don't even know what they're doing. They're purposely showcasing all this shit for I don't know what reason, and it's fucking disgusting, dude. There's this one lady that I shared on Facebook. Her name is Genevieve Peters. She's openly like public on Facebook and makes a mockery of a lot of shit. But this piece of shit fucking cunt has made a career of being a fucking total asshole, and she does it for publicity and ego. And if you look at her page, dude, like she has like open up America, don't live in fear. She's a QAnon follower, which is fucking dumb. And now look, and I'm looking at something that she posted, and she said, from a Patriot sister, Melinda O in San Diego, please pray for medical wisdom and 100% recovery. Well, it's finally hit me personally. I have tested positive for COVID. On top of that, I have kidney stones, and that has caused sepsis, and I'm anemic. I'm not doing well at all. This is one of the scariest times of my life. Please say a prayer for me today. Update. I spoke with her today. She is hospitalized and horrified at what they are doing. She is locked in a sealed room and can't leave. Please pray God uses her and this incident to expose his insanity in America. Melinda is an outstanding patriot. What the fuck? Damn, man. Yeah, she would talk shit about BLM. She had the I will not comply. Man, this is nothing to joke about, man. Wear your mask in wherever you need to do, and just take it off when you need to. Seriously. I mean, just do it, man. I mean, I'm sure that's just, yeah, Adam. I mean, if you tested positive, it could have came from anywhere, man. I mean, luckily for you, Adam, your recovery rate is going to be good. You're young, but just, be sure you quarantine yourself. Do everything that you would do with the flu, because I'm pretty sure I caught it in February, dude, before this whole thing was a mess. But they were calling it an upper respiratory infection. A lot of people did. I know a lot of people caught it in December. Nonetheless, stay away from people. Wash your hands. What I did a lot was I ran the hot water first in the shower and let the steam go in my lungs, because it was dry. It wasn't phlegmy. So I felt like, it was like knives in my fucking chest. It was so crazy. But that's it, dude. And then just stay away from people. I mean, usually by nature, when I get sick, dude, I just stay away. Like, I don't even shake hands. I do elbows. I cough under my thing like that. I make sure I wash my clothes. I disinfect my bed with Lysol, that stuff. But you'll be all right, man. Keep your head up. This is not, this is only the beginning of, what's to come. I hope this isn't seasonal, but, because the flu is seasonal and that kills a bunch of people a year. We don't need another fucking, virus killing people. So nonetheless, reach out to me if you get down in the dumps. I'm pretty good at cheering people up, but thanks for tuning in, guys. I have a big podcast tomorrow with the band Vigester, one of my favorite original bands. The link's on my bio. It's a public feed on Facebook Watch. Go ahead and tune in. I'll post some clips here for you guys to watch. But stay positive, stay up, stay strong. And no one's told you that they love you today. Let me be the first one to tell you, I love you.